Hello and welcome everybody to the Chicagoland
Sorry, Mark, I didn't know
Speedway.
which way you were going.
We are here for the grand finale of the Output Racing League Season 3 for 2019. We've got a tight points battle up the top between Jaron, Matt Burgess and Thomas Harmon, all of which are in the field today so far. Could be an absolutely cracking race. But we're going to get on and get into doing a pit party here in just a second. And we are actually going to invite the 54, Derek Myers, man who was on top missing last week because he wanted to take a nap in his RV. And he's now down in 5th in the points, which is unfortunate, but hey, anything can happen. He's still less than one race in worth in points away from getting the win. So he could climb back up to the top. We'll have to wait and see. But for now, let's organize this pit party. Let's go and jump on with 54 now. We're going to go into Discord and drag him up for the chat. Hello, Derek.
What's up, Corey?
Not much, man. We're going to be riding along with you for this pit party. I hope that you are well rested after last week.
I think so. If you can see the speed charts, we're right on where we left off 2 weeks ago at Phoenix.
Alrighty, man. Well, have fun in this pit party, man, and we look forward to seeing what you can do here.
Sounds good. I'll try to go fast for you. And four. Oh, we got a crazy 3 wide here. That shouldn't hurt us too bad. Turn 3 and 4. Just get in there, stay on the bottom for as long as you can. Get back to the gas, and it should be good. Cut down on the apron right here at the tri-oval if you want to gain a little bit more. Like, I'm hopefully going to clear this. I don't know what's going on here. Holy shit. Dude, can you hear me, Corey? My racing wheel just completely shut off on the Xbox mode. I don't even know how that happens.
Oh, well, that's
Oh gosh, I'm gonna have to switch that. I don't even know how to do that. I'm gonna have to go grab the manual. Hold on.
all right. So that's an unfortunate circumstance there for Derek.
Are you there, Corey?
Yeah, still here, mate.
Fixed it up. I got it.
Awesome.
Let's try this again. Already another wreck. Well, 3 wide. That was a pretty splendid save, if I don't say so myself.
Oh, that was an excellent save. We're riding on board your gyro cam right now.
They're just wrecking all over the place. Sloppy driving.
Looks like everyone might be taking a nap this week.
Low key sucks though that I missed last week. Sucks. Looks like Christian Bud's making his way to the front up there. We have a little bit of right front damage from one of those wrecks, but we should be able to get around some of these guys if I do everything correctly. That was another close call. Pitting in this time. Pretty solid right there, I'd say.
Not bad at all. Thank you very much, Derek, for taking us on this wild ride. through a couple of pit parties here at Chicagoland. Good luck in the race, my friend.
Yeah, thank you. Hopefully we come in the season with a win. So.
Alright guys, so that was the 54 Derek Myers taking us through the pit party there. Hoping for some good results after he missed last week. Be interesting to see what he can do. Time for us to rejoin some of the action on track. See, Brian Pizzicami was there on screen briefly. Here's Thomas Harmon. Thomas on top of the points at the moment. If Thomas has a bit of a shocking race, it opens up the door for Matt Burgess and Jaron Sanchez to try and take the advantage. Jaron's only in second by a mere couple of points, I do believe. I haven't actually checked out the standings yet this week, but I know that he's not in second by much. You see the two of Chris Champeau looking pretty strong here at the moment. P7 at the minute. Not bad at all, as it looks like we're experiencing a little bit of network difficulty just then. Catching up to the tail of the 22 of Brandon Miller. So this is technically the end of an era for these Xfinity cars. Be the last time you see Xfinity running the old tyre model. It's going to be a patch coming in tonight on iRacing, ushering in the new tyre model era. See the 86 of Gerald West coming out of the pits below the 22 and the 2. So I'm actually really quickly here going to go check out the points while you guys watch some of this action. 22 Brandon Miller holding on strong over the 2 of Chris Champeau at the moment. Brandon goes high, Chris goes low. Who's going to take the advantage coming off the corner? Chris with the run. He's got it at the line. But Chris is still a P7 here. The 22 of Brandon Miller is actually P9, so he's looking pretty good at the moment as well. Having a look at the moment, got Thomas Harmon first on 1,124 points. Jaron Sanchez 15 points back from Thomas. Matt Burgess only 5 points behind Jaron, and Chris Champeau actually 1 point behind Matt. Derek is just 6 points back from Chris, and Travis Massier 2 points back from Derek. So effectively, the entire top 6 has a very strong chance of making it theirs to keep here. Gerald West still technically does have a chance of getting the win, but it's unlikely. He is 32 points off the lead. Tommy Bordeaux 53 off the lead in 8th. But we are mostly focused on this top 6. Definitely going to be interesting to see how things play out here. Especially with the spoiler of Christian Budd. see what role he will play in all this. You see Gerald West on the screen at the moment. As I alluded to, he is 7th in points. But the 13 of Travis Massio coming up on his inside now. It's definitely going to be an interesting race, this one. There is no one that has a big enough lead that they just have to start to win the championship. But everyone's going to have to be very thoughtful with the way they race this race. We have 10 minutes left in the practice session here now. To see the 78 of Brian Pizzakemi and the 1 of Brandon Bennett. Pizzakemi currently up in 6th position, and Brandon Bennett down in 14th at the moment. That's not where Brandon should be. But he is driving that #1 Output Racing League car pretty hard here right now. Trying to get up on the inside of Pizzakemi. Just can't quite get up on his inside. Here comes the 13 of Travis Massio as well. Well, I'm pretty sure it's on fresh tyres. Travis up on the apron, almost making it 3 wide. Pizzakemi at the moment holding on strong in that outside line. Not giving up too much to Brandon Bennett. Here comes Massio now. Hugging that low line right down on the apron. And then he just scoots past both of them. Christian Budd in the background. Only sitting 3rd in the times at the moment. Now he's going to try and make his way around Brandon Bennett and Brian Pizzakemi. Oh! Just about contact there, maybe. Now we see the 86 and the 38 on screen. 86 Gerald West, 38's Thomas Harmon. Thomas currently sitting 5th. The 86 is Gerald West. Not doing so well, down in 15th position at the moment. You see the 21 of Brian Chambliss roaring up the inside of the 1 and the 78. Oh, and there's some contact. 2 of Chris Champeau just absolutely turned the 1 car there of Brandon Bennett. Apparently iRacing just wanted to stay on Brandon Bennett there for a while. We're back with the 12 and the 86 now. 12 of Matt Burgess working over Gerald West. Cuts down to the insides, getting a good run down there. Must be on fresher tyres. Gets a move made fairly easily there. tyres on screen, just about rubbing the wall on the exit of turn 2 there. Trying to hunt down the 13 of Travis Massia. Got the 24 of Frank Isaacson on his inside though. Frank looking like he just backed out a bit ever so slightly. Back up to the 12 of Matt Burgess, catching up to the 4 of Darren Sanchez and the 5 of Mark Pentecoff. Darren gives Matt the clean run down below. 86 of Gerald West following close behind him now. Matt Burgess is very comfortable in the car at the moment though. At the moment, the top time in practice is a 30.209 set by Derek Myers. Darren Sanchez just 4 thousandths of a second behind him with a 30.213. And Christian Budd 33 hundredths behind Derek with a 30.242. So these guys are definitely making sure no one's got the advantage, getting plenty of practice laps in here as well. Just under 4 minutes left in practice. These guys are going to be doing everything they can to either practice for a long run, which we can see Thomas Harmon and Brian Kuzakemi are doing, or they are going to try and get a qualifying simulation run in if they can find a clear track to do it. The Christian Budd working his way on the inside of Mark Pentecoff, starting to catch up to the back of Matt Burgess. Christian is on some fresh tyres. This is the 3rd lap he's been on them for. Here 12 of Matt Burgess making his way to the pits. Like it's a good one there. 5 of Mark Pentecoff, not so good. Now the 81 of Corey Williamson, just in front of the 72 of Josh Durham. Just in front of Corey is actually the 38 of Thomas Harmon. Thomas now on fresh tyres. So he'll be doing a qualifying simulation run here. Don't forget guys, if you're watching over on the Twitch side of things, there are channel points now. So that's a nice little feature that we've added in. You see the 7 of Brian Harris spinning out, running a US Army scheme, which I don't think he's meant to have on his car. He was all excited about having a new paint scheme, and that's not the one that he said he was going to be running. So I think during qualifying we might have to do a trading paints reset to see if he's got the right paint on. The 19, oh well, sorry, the 18, sorry, of Brian Beach on screen. Right behind Joshua Durham. Joshua pulling down to the infield to go and reset the car. Less than a minute though, I don't think he's going to get much track time after this. The 54 and the 86 of Derek and Gerald heading back out onto the track. The 17 of Christian Budd just working his way around the outside of both of them, and here they both come towards his inside now on those fresh tyres. tunnels, we see the 21 of Brian Chambliss spinning off to the inside wall. At turn 2, looking like it's going to be pretty deadly here. Now this is the end of practice. It's time to get in to get qualified. We're going to go to a quick commercial break, and when we come back, we will be gridding up the final round of Output Racing League for 2019. Alrighty, we are back. It's time to get gridded up here for the race. On the pole with a 30.535 is the 4 of Jaron Sanchez. On his outside will be the 38 of Thomas Harmon. Starting out of third will be the 2 car of Chris Champeau, with the 12 of Matt Burgess on his outside. The 21 of Brian Chambliss will be starting out of fifth, with the 1 of Brandon Bennett starting out of P6. The 22 of Brandon Miller will be starting out of 7th, with the 7 of Brian Harris starting out of 8th. The 24 of Frank Isaacson will be starting from 9th, with the 81 of Corey Williamson starting out of P10. The 11th position will be the 13 of Travis Massia. On his outside will be the 5 of Mark Pentecoff. The 17 of Christian Budd will be starting from 13th, with Gerald West in the 86 starting out of 14th. 15th position will see the 72 of Joshua Durham, with the 54 of Derek Myers on his outside. Brian Pizzakemi in the 78 will be starting from 17th, and last but not least, in the 18th position will be the 18 of Brian Beach. We are set for a ecstatic race here. So much drama that could happen, so much drama that might not happen. Going to be a close finish for the points at the end of this. So we'll have to wait and get some calculations at the end of the race to find out who the champion will be. Will it be Thomas? Will it be Jaron? Will it be Matt? Or will Derek find a way to get back into the lead of things? Just have to wait and find out, as the field is pacing along the back straight. Only the one pace lap here. We're going to open up the radio waves as soon as we get the green flag. And see what these drivers are going to be talking about while they race. First start on green, all restarts on the leader. Final round of Output Racing League for 2019 Season 3. And we are underway. Barely even start there for the 4 and the 38. Looks like Jaron on the inside is going to have the advantage going into turns 1 and 2. Hold it flat on the first lap. Thomas Harmon slots right in behind him, and in fact does an over-under, gets right back to his inside. As we're coming towards turn number 3, the 12 of Matt Burgess looks like he's blocked in a little bit there in 5th position at the moment, as we got one already gone. That is the 1 of Brandon Bennett gone already. Just going to go back and have a look at that one in slow-mo, see what happened here. So the 22 of Brandon Miller goes a little bit deeper in the corner than what he was probably expecting. Just giving it a little bit of a tap there to Brandon Bennett. Thought, well, since he's already half around, I may as well send him the whole way around. As Brandon half saves it here. Like he's just about got it completely saved. And gets hooked by Brandon Miller again. That is unfortunate for both those guys. 81 of Corey Williamson's caught up in it as well. Look at the airtime there for Brandon Bennett. Oh, Derek Myers and the 5 of Mark Pentecoff got caught up in it as well. 17 of Christian Budd, looks like he gets through it alright. We've got a long list of cars that were involved in this one. It's almost going to be faster to say who was not involved in this incident. A lot of cars on the pit road as well. wait for them all to come around the start finish line this time, and we'll get the order sorted out for you guys at home. As you can see, it's going to be the 38 of Thomas Harmon with the 4 of Jaron Sanchez, 21 of Brian Chambliss, the 12 of Matt Burgess. 5th place will be the 7 of Brian Harris, 72 of Joshua Durham. In 6th, Gerald West 7th, Brian Beach 8th, Chris Champeau 9th, Frank Isaacson 10th, Christian Budd in 11th, Brandon Miller in 12th. Travis Massio will be 13th, Derek Myers 14th, Brian Pizzakemi in 15th. Mark Penticuff will be restarting from 16th in this one. And it looks like, unfortunately, we have lost Corey Williamson from the race. And possibly Brandon Bennett as well. Brandon Bennett is actually still in the car waiting for the repairs to get done. Corey Williamson has gone back to driver's bus area. Car has been rolled into the garage to get loaded up onto the trailer. So already the drama has started. Already major championship implications. Like, we've just gotten the 1 to go. The field's going to start forming up here again. This restart will be on the leader, so Thomas Harmon, as well as lane choice, also gets to dictate when we go for the green flag. Goes on the inside line. They're coming out of turn 4. The pace car is going to go infield. Going to reopen the radio waves here to see what the drivers are talking about throughout the race.
There we go. There we go.
And we're off and racing again. An amazing jump there for the 38 Thomas Harmon. Looks like Jaron Sanchez was asleep because he's also been overtaken for second by Brian Chambliss. Going to be hard to contain Thomas once he gets a lead like this. Brian Chambliss is in P2. Jaron Sanchez back to 3rd with the 12 of Matt Burgess in 4th. See what Jaron can do to try and maybe get this 2nd position back from Chambliss. Doesn't look like he's got anything in the tank just yet. A lot of people getting very close to that turn 2 wall. And we have another safety car on the track. I think this one might have involved Christian Budd.
Blinks. It's done.
Oh, Christian just blinked out. Oh, there he is. he was the crash. But yeah, it was just because he was blinking out. Alright, the driver's going to make their way down to the pits. We're going to go to a quick commercial break. When we come back, we'll be getting a restart here for the final round of Output Racing League for 2019. Alrighty guys, we are back and we are actually joined by a special guest. We have Brandon Bennett in the commentary booth with us. He has gotten out of the car now, not waiting for the repairs anymore. He's decided he wants to come up and talk about the race with us. So first and foremost, you went to the medical center, got checked out. You're all good, mate?
Yeah, man, I'm good. I was a little aggravated, so cool down a little bit. Sounds like Brandon had really, he tried. So apology accepted there. Man, I was looking forward to this, but this should be a good race.
Indeed, it should. At the moment, the top order is Brian Harris, Brandon Miller, Thomas Harmon, Brian Chambliss, and Jaron Sanchez in 5th. Now, we've got a very close points battle on our hands here, Brandon. What do you see transpiring as the race continues? Obviously, Christian Budd not going to play spoiler in this race, but who do you think is going to win the championship?
Yeah, so I like Jaron. I was watching him practice. Jaron, it seems like he has control of his car there. During the long run. But Thomas, it's kind of hard to bet against Thomas. So right now I'm going with Thomas. I think Thomas is going to take this one home.
Alright, so there we have the early prediction from Brandon Bennett. He's going with Thomas for the win. I like Jaron's chances as well. He was quick in practice and obviously he put the thing on pole, so he's got pace. Just whether he can stay awake on these restarts.
Yeah, I didn't see that last restart, but it definitely sounded like he was sleeping a little bit.
So we've got the front row of Brian Harris and Brandon Miller. This could go a couple of ways here on the restart. Brian Harris not pitting yet on 11 lap old tires. How would that affect the driver as far as where you start and how much gas you use for the start?
Yeah, I think he can punch it. These guys can punch it here at the front. I just think they're going to have a hard time the older these tires get, or the older your tires are, the harder it is to keep it there on the bottom. So I would imagine that Jaron and them with the fresh tires will eat these guys.
Alright, well, we're just going to have to wait and find out. Pace starts to quicken a little bit here. The pace car goes into the pit lane. And we are off and racing again. Very early jump there for the 7 of Brian Harris. He's going to take the 38 of Thomas Harmon with him straight up into P2. Brandon Miller's going to drop back to 3rd. Brian Chambliss and Jaron Sanchez fighting over 4th and 5th. Not a bad restart there, Brandon.
Yeah, no, that was a very good restart there by Brian. Harris stayed with them. But like I said, Harris has a very fast car. Harris should be able to do quick work.
We're making our way back along the front straight here. Looks like Thomas is having a little bit of difficulty here trying to get around the 7 of Brian Harris. Too many Brandons and Bryans, I swear. As we see Thomas now going up to the inside of Brian Harris. Brian taking a little bit of a swipe at him there coming up at turn 2. Little bit of a cheeky move, but that's Thomas Harmon back into the lead now, Brandon.
Yeah, yep, he clears them there. That was quick work. Thomas is very patient. So when Thomas will wait for you to make the mistake and he'll take advantage of it.
It's looking like now the 21 of Brian Chambliss working on the inside of Brian Harris while we've got Jaron just behind these guys trying to get 4th position away from Brandon Miller. Brandon Miller is a Twitch streamer as well, guys. Go and check him out over at twitch.tv/getinmycreepyvan. All one word. He usually plays a bit of War Thunder, but we won't begrudge him that. Thanks are cool.
So, Corey, it looks like Jaron got off to a little slower start here, but it looks like he's going to slowly make his way to the front.
Yeah, that's one thing that we definitely noticed here so far on the restarts is Jaron is just a little bit asleep when it comes to getting on that gas. Hopefully he can start improving on that as the race goes on and he gets more used to driving at this track again. And saying that, he is trying to make his way up on the inside of the 7 of Brian Harris. And just in the background behind these guys, I saw Chris Champeau making a move on the inside of Brandon Miller as well. Another Twitch streamer in the field is Chris Champeau, twitch.tv/champdrivescars.
Yeah, another thing about Chris is really good painter, real good iRacing painter. Yeah, check his paints out, trading paints.
Oh, he did actually do the paint job for yourself and Jaron Sanchez, if I'm mistaken.
He did mine, Jaron, and Matt Burgess. So we all kind of drive a different colored combo. The scheme is somewhat the same. Jaron's in the yellow, I'm in the red, and Matt is in the blue. Very nice schemes.
Now we're going to go and look back in the pack a little bit here. We can see the 54 of Derek Myers trying to work on the inside of the 72 of Joshua Durham here. Derek, involved in your incident. Looking like there's not much damage on his car and he's pulling his way through the field kind of nicely here. Spewing that he missed the last week and dropped down to 5th in points, but he's definitely trying to make up for it here, Brandon.
Yeah, so Derek's another one, very patient. I know he has a little bit of damage, but I don't think that's going to affect him at all. I don't think he has anything for Thomas right now, but you know, things can change, of course.
And it looks like the tires are starting to equalize out here between the guys on the fresher tires and Brian Harris. Looks like he's just holding off Chris Champeau there for the 4th position. It's good to see because Brian is a good driver. He just gets very unlucky, doesn't he, Brandon?
Oh yeah, that's for sure. Brian, you know, very good. It does seem like he has a lot of back, especially this season.
Hopefully he can start improving on his luck. It's looking good at the moment with him being this far up the field so far. He's got the 12 of Matt Burgess on his inside, fighting for the championship. He's not in a good position right now, though, behind his 2 title rivals at the moment.
Yeah, I agree. Looking at practice and watching Matt in practice, I felt like Matt was one of the top 3 cars, but it kind of looks like he's struggling a bit here.
And we can see the ever-charging 18 car of Brian Beach working his way through the field as well. Brian, definitely a very fast driver. It just seems late in the race he generally has the worst luck of anyone. I think he's failed to finish in the last in like 3 or 4 of the last 5 or 6 races. So yeah, hopefully he can start getting some luck behind him here for the final round.
Yeah, I mean, going back to Phoenix, watching him there, I mean, he was coming out real late with Derek and them and Guns. got involved in a late crash. It kind of took him out, but you're correct. He does, kind of seems like when he does finally get that run going, he has a little bit of bad luck. Once he gets over that, I think he's going to be in good shape.
It looks like at the moment things are starting to equalize out between everyone here a little bit. Thomas Harmon, back up at the front of the field, has a huge gap of about 7/10 of a second, almost 8, over Brian Chambliss in the 21 car. I don't think anyone's going to be able to stop Thomas once he gets to the front, especially now that Christian Budd is out of the race.
Yeah, and Thomas is really good at conserving his tires, and he's good at conserving his tires, but he's also good at maintaining a nice steady.
Yeah, well, that's one thing that I've always noticed is Thomas always seems to drive really hard, but he does it with care and he doesn't burn up his stuff. See, he's moved up to about the second lane there in turns 3 and 4. It's just another way that he can save his tires a little bit for this run. Burns it up a little bit using the apron on the front straight, but he does it in a way where it doesn't burn up his tires too much.
Yeah, it looks like he's kind of rolling it in there now and just kind of letting it, you know, do its thing, letting the car, you know, he's letting the car do the work here. He's not really forcing it down low. He's just kind of gliding it.
Now, let's go and have a look inside of the 21 car. See the different lines that they take. Brandon Bennett, Brian Chambliss, my apologies, going right down to the inside of the apron there, almost in the grass. He's running a much more aggressive line than what Thomas is here. He's actually closed up to about 5/10 of a second. Is that just due to Thomas maybe saving his stuff up a little bit, or is Brian looking like he's actually a chance of catching up a little bit here?
Yeah, so I think Thomas is in conserve mode right here. I don't, even though Brian is as close to him, I don't think Thomas really feels threatened by him at all. So you can see Thomas here just slightly pulling away a little bit more. Now I do like this bottom lane that Brian is running. I think in the long run, this is going to be beneficial to him, but I still don't think anybody has anything for Thomas Harmon today.
Let's go back and have a look at our third and fourth place drivers here. Got Derek Myers sitting in fourth at the moment. In fact, he might be third. We seem to have lost Chris Champeau. So very strange circumstances happening here at the moment. Where is Chris?
Yeah, and something else interesting too here, Corey, is Jaren's dropping back a little bit.
He is. We're just trying to see what's happened to Chris here, because he seems to have just disappeared off the face of the earth. And I think he might have been bitten by some network issues there. So that is very unfortunate indeed for Chris Champeau, who was looking really good and up in the top end of the points. But you're right, Jaron Sanchez now dropping back. He's back behind Matt Burgess. This is not the position that either of these guys wanted to be in, 5th and 6th. They want to be at the front fighting it out with Thomas.
Yeah, I agree. You know, now looking at Matt, because we saw where Matt restarted, Matt seems to be saving his tires a little more too here and coming on strong, but we just talked about him a little bit ago. Look at Brian Beach.
Yeah, Brian definitely one of the faster guys that we have. As I saw in the background, the 86 Gerald West going around the inside of Jaron Sanchez. Brian is a part of the same team as Gerald West and Derek Myers, running a different scheme though. But either way, he is definitely one of the faster guys in this team. But so is Derek, and Derek hates to lose to his teammates, especially if it's Gerald West, Brandon.
Oh, agreed. Yeah, they have a healthy competition. You know, each week Gerald and Derek are usually at the top, but I think Brian being on that team has made Brian an even better driver.
Well, as I said, all Brian really needs is just for the luck to go his way at the end of the race. I mean, he has proven time and time again he's got the skill to work his way through the field. He never qualifies, always starts at the back, works his way through, and is always there or thereabouts. Just very unlucky and gets caught up in a late race incident, and you know, that just puts a big ink splodge on what has been a fairly healthy career for him here in the outdoor racing.
Yeah, no, he does a good job each and every week. Like you said, we've already highlighted it, that bad luck there towards the end of the races, but maybe that luck changes to.
And now we have another change of position. Gerald West getting around Matt Burgess for the 5th position. So we got an SSR 3rd, 4th, and 5th right now. These guys are absolutely coming right now, Brendan.
Yeah, and each one of these guys are really good drivers. I would say to include Brian Beach, you're looking at our top, top 3 to 5 drivers in our. They all do a really good job at saving their tires, do a real good job of, adjusting to the track and what that's doing. And it always seems like these guys are at the front of the field at the end of every race.
Speaking of the front of the field, we have got a change for the lead. Brian Chambliss has overtaken Thomas Harmon. So there's a little bit of a explosion going off here. We didn't think that this was going to happen, but it looks like it has.
Yeah, no, I completely underestimated Brian's car here. I mean, it looks like
Thomas is gone. He got loose coming out of turn 4. He's hit the wall.
Oh, no.
No caution on the track, but that is a lot of damage to the right front of the Thomas Harmon machine here.
Yeah, that's heavy damage to Thomas. He's going to have to pit. That's going to be big championship implications here.
Major championship implications indeed. We're going to open up the radio here to see what these drivers are talking about, because we see that a couple of them were lining up the radio waves there. The 18 of Brian Beach actually heading to the pits this time as well.
Yeah, I think he might sense a caution might be coming out soon.
Even then, I don't like the pitting early thing. I think it puts you right on the back foot, especially if a caution was to come out. But either way, he is his own driver, and we can't really blame him for doing what he's doing.
Yeah, you got to try what you can, to win these races. Our top guys are so good, and they do a very good job with race strategy and just racing in general. So these guys are top of their game, so it's always good to try something different. But this one at this track, pitting early and not getting a caution right away might hurt you.
But it can also be a little bit of a savior as well, because he's on those fresher tires, fresher than everyone else. It's definitely going to put him in a good standing, like if we do end up going green for a long period of time here. But the 38 of Thomas Harmon dropping like a stone. He's got Matt Burgess right behind him, but he also has to be worried about Derek Myers right now up in the 2nd position. This is going to put Derek in a great spot to try and claw some points back and maybe sneak himself back into a championship winning position.
Yeah. Yeah, things got really interesting really quick, that's for sure. Yeah. I did not expect that out of Thomas.
I don't think anyone does. Thomas is one of our rock solid, quick as drivers, and to see him make that one little mistake, it's a bit of a mind-blowing situation because we just don't expect it.
No, I mean, Thomas is a phenomenal driver. Even when he does, get into a little hiccup, he does a pretty good job at recovering. So I'll be interested to see how he how that car drives going forward.
We see now Gerald West has made his way into the pits. Going to put Thomas Harmon back up into 4th position. Just behind Thomas at the moment is the 2 of Chris Champeau, 5 laps down after he was involved in one of those incidents. He's going to try and claw his way back up the field now.
Yeah, and I'll be honest, this kind of has like a green look to it. So, and Thomas, I mean, it looks like he's slowing down a little bit more now, but he's kind of holding steady there.
Just have a quick little look at the lap times here. Thomas Harmon on the last lap did a 32.7, and we'll compare that to Jaron Sanchez, who did a 32.3 on that last lap. Jaron actually faster than both Thomas and Matt.
Jaron, he's eating them up.
Jaron maybe saving his tires there in the early run, looking like he's coming into his own at the minute.
Yeah, and that's another big thing here. Saving your tires for the long run, but the tricky part is those guys that peel off somewhat early, they kind of throw a wrench into that strategy.
It looks like the 21 car of Brian Chambliss gone into the pits this time. It has gifted the lead of the race to the 12 of Matt Burgess, who is holding off Thomas Harmon and Jaron Sanchez at the moment. So pit strategy starting to play out here a bit, Brandon.
Yeah, and you know, the unfortunate part here for Matt, Thomas, and Jaron, although they're trying to stretch this run out, look who's right there behind Matt Burgess, Brian Beach. He's coming. He's eating these guys alive. These guys are losing a lot of time right now staying on the track.
Indeed they are, and this is going to put Brian Beach in very good standing as far as when everything cycles out, because he's in front of Brian Chambliss, who was the leader when we were all coming in, starting the pit cycle. It'll be interesting to see how things are going to equal out from here as Jaron Sanchez now comes into the pits. One thing about pit strategy, it always throws a wrench into the works, Brandon.
No, I agree, especially at tracks like this where fresh tires is extremely important, and it's really beneficial if you can pit early and it stays green. As you can see, Brian Beach just ate, and he should go to the lead here once everything cycles through.
Speaking of cycling through, the 12 of Matt Burgess heading down to the pit road now. Nice pit entry there. That's going to leave Thomas Harmon back into the lead of this race with all that damage that he's got on the car. I can't believe he's still out there driving it, Brandon.
Yeah, I can't either, Corey. I mean, he's losing a buttload of time. I mean, he's losing time to the fresh tires. He's losing time because of the damage. I'm kind of curious to see what his strategy was after that walk lead.
Either way, he's playing it out the way that he wants to, and that's what matters. But he's got the 72 of Joshua Durham, just a second and a half behind him. Josh has been doing an amazing job here at the moment, holding off Brian Pizzakemi in provisional third. Josh has been on the up and up, improving every week that we've come onto a racetrack here.
Yeah, and I think, Corey, a lot of our drivers have really started to improve. Each week it seems like the middle to the back half of our field is getting even more competitive than maybe the front.
Well, it's very true. All the drivers have definitely been picking up the pace as the season's worn on. And I reckon next season we're going to see even more of this happening, with it being a much larger field that we can have available to us, and running an entire season following, I'm pretty sure following the Cup schedule, but I'm not completely sure on that.
Yeah, that's what it sounds like. So I'm pretty pumped up. I like the Cup car for next year. I like the Cup car in general. I think it with the new package, it gives you close racing, close tight racing. It's nice. I mean, I like these B cars here, but I'm excited for our next season, which is next year.
Indeed it is. We're taking a bit of a break here, and come February we will be back in action on the Aussie Sim Commentator channel with the more Output Racing League action. So we're taking a long Christmas and New Year break, and we won't be too far away as we see the 72 of Joshua Durham coming into the pits. He's gone sideways over the pits, and I think that might be a bit of a speeding penalty there for Josh.
Putting in.
Oh yeah, he might have got it slowed down just in time, but it definitely looks like he was speeding when he hit that commitment line.
Back out onto the track now to our leader, Thomas Harmon, one of only 3 people who has not pitted yet. He's just been overtaken on track by Jaron and Matt.
You know what, Corey? Something really interesting to think about here. I don't know if it's going to work or not, but Thomas could be trying to split this into just one more stop. The other guys are going to have to pit at least one more time, so Thomas could be trying to turn this into a one-stop race from here.
If Thomas turns this into a one-stop race, then he is an absolute mega man, because that is definitely not easy to do. But if we go green the rest of the way, Brandon, I don't think I like his chances of trying to do that for a strategy, because we had a couple of cautions early, and you can save 2 laps for every 1 lap of caution.
Yeah, no, I agree. You know, there's a lot of things Thomas is good at. 1 is saving his tires. 2 is Bristol. 3 is Dover. And I think he does a really good job at also conserving gas when he needs. but it looks like he might be coming to pits now, or he still might be saving.
I think he's definitely trying to wait on that lap 50. Although he is slowing up now, he is making his... Oh no, he's gone sideways again. And he smashes the commitment cone. That is going to be an unsafe pit entry. And that is going to lose him a lot of time as well. Slipping and sliding all over the pit lane there. Things are just going bad to worse here for our major championship contender.
Yeah, this is not going Thomas's way. I'm sorry, Thomas, I mentioned your name. I hope I didn't cause him any bad luck. But no, it looked like he was definitely the car to beat, but he's definitely facing some drama here in the late stages of this race.
And what this has done now is that this has put Brian Pizzicchemi into the lead of the race. Travis Massio into P2. These guys are on 41 lap runs at the moment. So, you know, another 5 laps, even, you know, another 4 laps. And these guys could make it to the end on one stop.
Right, and that may be what Brian's trying to do here. Brian could be trying to do this on a one stop from here, where the other guy's got to stop at least one more time.
We see Brian coming into the pits now, locked up a little bit. Looks like he got it controlled in time to get into the pits there. As we gotta go try and find where the 13 and Travis Massio is. He's still on track. Travis Massio leads the race for that lap. And that's some more bonus points, which definitely count at the end of the day, Brandon.
Definitely, they definitely add up, especially towards the end of the season. Corey, I think something to look at here is Brian Chambliss actually took over Brian Beat.
Indeed he has. He's in front of Gerald West as well. So our provisional leader right now, Brian Chambliss, again on those slightly fresher tyres than Gerald and Brian. Too many Brians. Too many Brandons.
But I tell you what, this has been some good racing. This has been entertaining here for the last race for Output this season. You know, it looked to be the favorite Thomas, who's just going to come in and ride, maybe take this thing to victory lane. I mean, this points battle is really tight.
It is indeed, and it looks like at the moment, Favor is shining over Matt Burgess and Karen Sanchez. Currently in 5th and 6th. Money would be on one of them at this point in time, with Thomas being 2 laps down. I'm guessing stopping to get some of the damage fixed as well.
Yeah, Corey, so coming into the race, Thomas was 15 points ahead of Jaron Sanchez. So with that, we know Thomas led a couple laps there. So I think as long as Thomas can finish 16th or better, maybe 14th or better, he still might have a chance at this championship.
Well, we'll just have to wait and see, because at the moment, Jaron and Derek are in 5th and 6th. Oh, sorry. Matt, Jaron, and Derek are in 4th, 5th, and 6th, respectively. So we'll have to wait and see how it goes, because one of them is still eligible for the most laps led. Although the way that Brian Chambliss is going, that might go his way instead.
Oh yeah, Brian is flying here. I mean, I didn't think he had anything for Thomas there in the early run, but he's doing a really good job keeping these tires up underneath them, just driving the track, just giving, you know, taking what the car.
And he's just so controlled with the way he's doing it. Like we haven't seen him getting loose like the way that Thomas did yet. But
yes.
He's definitely still pushing the car though. As I think he's trying to maybe get a gap over the guys who are trying to do the one stop.
Yeah, and I think what's going to be interesting here is when do these guys that pitted first there, when do they pit again? Because I think we know that Brian Pizzicchemi and those guys are not going to pit again. At least that's the assumption, right?
That is indeed the assumption. And you know, if I was a betting man, I'd say that he'd want to try and do a split strategy. So he's been on his tyres for 18 laps. 19 when he comes across the line. Got 44 laps to go. I'd expect him to come in with maybe about 35 to go.
Yeah, because I think that would give him enough time to run down Brian and those guys that decided to do this last portion here on only one. And we both know those new tires definitely pay off.
Indeed they do, and the longer that you're on newer tires, you know, the better off you are. But, you know, they do still equalize out performance. So it's all about trying to play your cards right, making sure you use what you got with the tires that you have, and then trying to get the most out of your next set as well, whether that be through a little bit of conservation or just all-out attack. Be interesting to see the way this plays out for these guys.
Yeah, definitely. And one thing I was watching Brian there for, for a couple of laps. It looks like he's kind of moved up to the second lane there. So he's kind of moved up a little higher. So it definitely looks like he's just taking whatever the car gives him at this. But he's still fast.
Indeed, he is still fast, and he's definitely showing it. But he's allowing the 13 of Travis Masia on the much fresher tires to go up his inside here.
Thank you.
Which could, in turn, actually benefit him a little bit here, because Travis being on the fresher tires, be a little bit faster. It also means that Brian Chambliss is going to get a little bit of a sneaky draft here on the straightaways.
Right, yep.
Easy job.
And then that time through 1 and 2, he utilized the very low lane, but it looks like the longer this run goes on, he wants to use that second to third lane, and both 1 and 2 and 3.
I think that the second lane is probably going to be better for him at the moment, because it's just the way that the tires are wearing right now. That second lane just holds that little bit of extra momentum, and it's just a little bit easier on the tires as well. But
yeah,
he is his
own
driver.
Just ride it in there.
He is his own driver. He'll make his own decisions. I'm pretty sure he doesn't have this broadcast here going on in the background, so we won't know for sure what he's planning unless we decided to drag him in for an interview mid-race.
Yeah, if hopefully not, because this seems to be a pretty good storyline here that's developing, with this pit strategy. I mean, if we get a caution, I think it'd be nice to hear what he has to say about his strategy, especially during this part of the race, because this is very interesting.
But for the moment, guys, we are going to go for a commercial break. When we come back, as long as we don't get a caution, we will be going all the way down to the checkered flag to end the race. So stay tuned. It's going to be an interesting one.
Shampoo.
Alrighty guys, we are back for the final round of Output Racing League 2019, and Brian Chambliss still in the lead, but it looks like something has happened to one of our fast boys, Gerald West, into the pits. He's coming out of the pits now, but he has gone 2 laps down.
Yeah, I'm not sure what happened to him there, Corey. It seemed like Matt caught him, and then he really started to fall off.
I think we have it here. He's coming through turns 3 and 4. And he gets it sideways in turn 4, just tapping the outside wall and going for a little spell into the grass. So that is a big oof there for Gerald West.
Yeah, I mean, nice save there. Good that he kept it off the wall, and like Thomas did there, kept it off the wall, got it straightened out. But that's a pit stop after that.
Indeed it is, and as I said, that's put him 2 laps down now. He's in the range of being on the same lap as Thomas Harmon, 2 laps down. But that also helps Thomas, because that's Thomas now into 12th position.
It does, and I think if Thomas stays right where he's at, I think Thomas is going to wrap this championship up.
And it looks like at the moment also we're getting all the people who pitted early coming back into the pits now. Brian Beach making his pit stop this time by.
And Brian's been into the wall. You see that damage on that right side of his car, the right rear there.
I think everyone is maybe on a fine balancing act here with track temperature. The track temperature might have gone up and made things a little bit slicker. I'm going to open up the radio waves again, go back to our leader, and see what's going on. He's actually, like he's lost a little bit of time here to Matt Burgess in the 12 at 8 seconds back, but it just seems to be that little bit faster at the minute.
Yeah, he does, and it also looks like Brian, maybe with that big lead, he may be trying to save a little fuel, but I'm not sure why, because he has to pit.
Yeah, there's no way that he can get around it. There's still 32 laps to go in this race, or sorry, 31 and a quarter now as he comes through turns 3 and 4. On 30 lap old tyres, he's going to have to pit sometime soon.
Yeah, and then I'm really curious to see where, let's see where Brian Pizzakimi is running. He's running in 4, so he's definitely in the catbird seat at the moment.
He is, and he's only 17 seconds back from the lead at the moment. So this is going to be some big things happening for Brian Pizzakemi. Only 19 lap old tyres, but once these leaders start getting onto the freshies, things are going to start looking a little bit harder here for Pizzakemi to possibly get the win.
I agree, but I feel like the longer Brian and Matt and those guys wait, it benefits Brian Pizzakimi here more so, because it doesn't give those guys with the fresh tires enough laps to catch him.
But in saying that, it also puts his tires at more of a disadvantage, because the longer that they wait, the worse his tires are going to be, and when they're on their fresh tires, they're going to start catching him a whole lot faster.
Yeah, no, I agree. They're going to eat him up big time. I just feel like these guys are going to need to, pit with at least 25 to go, so they're able to run him down.
And we're now on 29 to go. Jaron Sanchez out on the radio saying that he's coming into the pits this time, as we see the 21 going around the 54, Derek Myers, who's just come out of the pits. A lot of strategies being played out right now, but at the moment, it's still Brian Chambliss's advantage.
Yeah, no, this is good stuff, Corey. I mean, I love this pit strategy that we got going on here. These races that have these long green flag runs can get kind of boring, but our guys have definitely mixed it up here.
And that is one thing that we are pretty good at, is mixing up the strategy and making things go all different tangents.
That we are.
Derek Myers coming up behind our leader, just about taking off his tail there. 3 wide on the back straight with 24 of Frank Isaacson coming out of the pits. Worrying times right now for our leader.
Oh man, that was too close for comfort right there. I'm sure Brian Chambliss that was a pucker moment.
Well, pucker indeed, and maybe a little bit more. He's probably starting to build a brick shed there in the car. I know I would have been.
And I know totally, that wasn't intentional whatsoever. It's just those new tires versus those old tires. Those new tires just eat it.
We're now working just about 26 laps to go. Our leader has now come into the pits. Interesting to see where he comes out. We'll have a quick little look at Matt Burgess as well. He's out on the track at the moment, Brandon.
Yeah, see, I think the longer you stay out here, for this group of cars, the more it hurts, especially for Matt. In my opinion, Matt's a phenomenal driver. I don't want to take anything away from him, but I probably would have pitted earlier, but maybe Matt has something up his sleeve.
Well, we can only hope that he does, because if he pits sometime soon, I think Jaron Sanchez might actually get the undercut on him and take the advantage in the points further away from Matt and closer to himself. But Thomas Harmon sitting in 10th, still going to be hard to knock off the top step of the standings.
It is, and then Thomas as well is also on that one-stop strategy here in this last part of the. So I believe the battle here for our points is for second place and on. I just think as long as Thomas stays within that top 14, he's in good.
As we now see the 12 of Matt Burgess heading into the pits. That is going to promote Brian Pizzakemi into the lead of this race.
And then he has what, a 10-second lead. It looks like a little bit larger lead over Travis.
A little bit more now as Travis has just come into the pits. Now he has about a 20-second lead over Brian Chambliss. So it'll be interesting to see if Chambliss can actually catch up this 20 seconds. In fact, he's just taken 2 seconds out of the lead on that lap alone.
Yeah, he's going to have to do that and then knock off about a second to a half a second each lap as this race comes to. It's going to be interesting, Corey. This is kind of exciting, like I said earlier.
Well, if anyone can do it, it will be Brian Chambliss who will be able to pull it off. See Matt Burgess coming out behind Brian Pizzakemi there. Brian coming into the pits, I've just heard over the radio.
Oh, wow.
Could not get the one stop to work. And this is going to put Brian Chambliss back into the lead of the race, Brandon.
Yeah, so something that's interesting that I didn't really take into account is we had those few cautions at the beginning of the race, so it kind of extended that run there. But I felt like he could stay out a little bit.
He probably could have, but he probably saw the amount that Chambliss was catching him and thought that it was just not worth it. But another thing that this has done is Jaron Sanchez going to get promoted into the second position here, I do believe.
Yep, he will. He's going to end up jumping Matt there, and that's he came in a couple laps before Matt, so he had the advantage of those fresh tires. So it'd be interesting to see if Matt can catch him in the closing.
We'll just have to wait and see. Let's go and have a look at Jaron Sanchez right now. Do we believe he's in second position? Just got to wait for him to cross the line, and there he does. And yep, it is confirmed. Jaron Sanchez in second, Matt Burgess in third, and Thomas Harmon in the pits.
Oh, so it looks like that one-stop strategy didn't work out for Thomas either. It looks like he went ahead and pitted. Thomas was running 12th, so I wonder if this is going to affect his running order any.
I think it will. Looks like he's coming out of the pits 3 laps down, which will put him back down towards 13th, 14th. And if he just goes another lap down, then that's going to put him in the clutches of Chris Champeau, running in the 15th position, 4 laps down.
Yeah, I don't know what their tire situation is right there, but like I said, I believe Thomas needs to stay above that 14th threshold to lock this thing.
I have trust in Jaron. I think all Jaron really needs to do here is try and catch up to Brian Chambliss and maybe get the win to have the real chance of trying to get the win in the championship here, because I'm pretty sure he hasn't had an incident the entire race, so definitely make things very interesting here.
Yeah, Jaron's had a pretty clean race here. Looks like he's just kind of, taking care of his stuff here, trying to make it to. It looks like Brian Chambliss would, unless a caution comes out, Brian has this thing down on lock, but it looks like this battle's going to come down to second place between him and Matt.
Speaking of him and Matt, they are within the same space on the track at the moment. Matt right up behind Jaron Sanchez at the moment. This is the battle, not just for second on track, but the second in points, possibly the win. It'll be interesting to see the way this is going to play out. Matt trying to look down low, no room down there for him to get to. Jaron just holding on to that second place at the moment.
Yep, and Jaron's just not going to give it to him. And here you can see the difference in tires. Matt came in a few laps later, but it looks like he's making that time.
Well, 5 laps does make all the difference, as we see Matt now ranging up on the inside of Jaron Sanchez coming out of turn 2. A nice, easy, simple move to make, and that is going to be Matt Burgess up into second and Jaron down into third now.
Yep, Matt made pretty easy work there. Those fresher tires worked out for him.
But another thing that should be worth noting here, Brandon, is that 12 of Matt Burgess has fresher tires than Brian Chambliss.
He does, but I just don't think Matt can knock off, that 12.5 seconds in enough time. Brian does a really good job as this run goes on, saving his stuff and staying relatively fast compared to everyone else.
Well, we'll just have to wait and see, as we only have 15 laps left in this race. Gonna be very interesting to say the way that this will play out. But let's go and do a little run of who we got on the lead lap. The 21 of Brian Chambliss in the lead at the moment. Coming out of turn 4, making his way down to the start finish line to end lap 86 and start lap 87. 12 of Matt Burgess in P2. 12.5 seconds back, looking like he's just not quite closing up that gap any. 4 of Jaron Sanchez sitting in third, just behind the that down car of the 2 of Chris Champeau. In 4th place is actually Brian Pizzakemi on the freshest tires of all. Like he's trying to make some moves here, and maybe he could possibly catch up to Jaron Sanchez before this race is over. The 18 of Brian Beach currently in the 5th position. He is actually almost a full lap behind on the leader. So he's probably going to go a lap down here fairly shortly. And in 6th place, last car on the lead lap is the 24 of Frank Isaacson in the Autism Speaks car. Frank looking pretty strong here at the moment, Brandon.
Yeah, Frank, loved the guy. Great driver. Frank just kind of takes what's given to him. His car, what he supports is pretty awesome there. But Frank, one of the class acts in our league for sure, and he's doing a really good job.
He is indeed, and this is probably one of the better positions we've seen him in. Like, we have seen him get a podium, but that was long time ago. So hopefully Frank can get a bit lucky here, but I don't like his chances because he's got the 21 of Brian Chambliss just half a second behind him here on track.
Yeah, and Brian will make quick work of him once he catches them, but still a very good run here with 24 and that Autism Speaks car. Frank's doing a hell of a job. I mean, heck, he could, depending on what happens here towards the end of the race, get a top 5.
He very well could, and especially if we get some late race drama here. At the moment, as Brian Chambliss comes across the line and puts Frank a lap down, we have 10 laps left to run in this race. So it is all going to be on the table to play for here. I think what we're going to watch is the 78 of Brian Pizzakemi. Is he still faster than Jaron Sanchez? Having a look at the lap times as they come across the line, and he is. He's half a second faster than Jaron Sanchez right now. So he is coming for that podium.
Yeah, it looks like he's picked up the pace a little bit, but the other car that looks like it's picked up the pace is Matt Burgess. I mean, Matt had the lead there under 12 seconds for a little.
In fact, it is still under 12 seconds at the moment, but I just don't think he's got enough time to catch. He's only catching a couple of tenths per lap, and it's definitely not helping him any here at the moment.
Yeah, it's almost one of those instances where if Matt could just put on fresh tires and just keep going, this would be that case here, because he needs to knock off at least a second and a half a lap.
And pitting to put on fresh tires, that's going to put him a lap down from this position. So
oh yeah,
it's really not worth it at this point in time to try such an outlandish strategy. But it's fun for us to sit here and theorize.
It is. No, I agree. It makes things interesting. I thought, that one-stop pit strategy there, Brian Pizzakemi and those guys run, I thought that was going to make things really interesting here towards the end. But, yeah, they saw something a little bit different there. But overall, I think this has been a very exciting race.
It has indeed. There's been plenty of action, especially at the start. And these guys have just been making this race more and more interesting as it goes on, especially with all the pit strategy. A lot of people don't like racing, they think it's boring, but motorsports is generally a smart person game anyway.
That it is indeed. Yeah, I kind of like the pit strategy races, and sometimes I wish the races were a little bit longer to allow more of that. But this shows you that we don't necessarily need longer races if cautions fall right and whatnot. This pit strategy can work itself into anything.
Indeed it does, especially when it comes to tires. Next season, in fact next year, when we come back, we'll be on the new tire model. And that will definitely add a bit of spice to our races here, Brandon.
Definitely, and I always think the cream always rises to the top. So the guys that are good in our league this year will be definitely good next year. But I know we've talked a lot about him, especially early on in this race was Thomas Harmon. I think it's going to be interesting to watch him because he, like both of us mentioned, he's really good at saving his.
Yeah, he's good at saving his stuff and going fast about it. It'll be interesting to see how he will pull off the new tire model next season. But at the moment,
Yeah.
this is all Brian Chambliss's race to lose. With 5 to go, 4 to go even.
Yeah, I mean, he just straight dominant performance today. I mean, once he caught Thomas there, I mean, he just set sail. Nobody's been able to get up next to him.
That includes Derek Myers, who is lingering down in 9th at the moment, 2 laps down now. Not been a great race for Derek, usually right up towards the pointy end of the field. But that incident that we were involved with has definitely mired his performance here a little bit.
Yeah, it looked early on that, the 18 to 54 and the 86 were all just coming straight to the front, but those guys have kind of fallen off here.
That early pit strategy has not been working out for them at all. I think they pitted early hoping that they'd get a caution on the lap that they pitted, but it did not work out to their favor.
Yeah.
It looks like Brian Pizzicami actually at risk of going a lap down here shortly as well, but I don't think Chambliss is going to get there at this rate.
No, but that battle between 3rd and 4th between Jaron and Brian is getting close.
Indeed it is. We're just watching it on the timing monitor here. We're not going to switch to it in real life because we're only got a lap and a half left here to run for the 21 of Brian Chambliss. Great supporter of armed forces and even the police, as we seen previously. He was the sponsor of the Blue Line event earlier this season. Comes across the line, white flag, last lap, last chance to win it or wear it for Brian Chambliss.
Yep, just got to keep it clean here. Gets into 1 and 2, nice and clean here, nice and easy. Down the back stretch he goes.
Coming through the back straight to for the final time, coming through turn 3, which comes turn 4, past the pit entrance, into the tri-oval. He's going to come across the line as a race winner of the final round of the 2019 season, 21 of Brian Chambliss. P2 is the 12 of Matt Burgess, who's just making his way to the line right now. There it is officially. The 4 of Jaron Sanchez is going to cross the line in 3rd. Great way for those two to end their seasons. Close hard battle between them, and it's going to be even closer in the points. 78 of Brian Pizzicami, who take home the 4th position. An exciting race here today, Brandon, as we see the 21 of Brian Chambliss get ready to perform some donuts. If you've got the tier 2 burnout emote available to you in the Twitch channel, make sure you absolutely spam the chat with it right now.
Burn it down.
Alright guys, so we're going to go to a quick break, organize who we need to have in for interviews. And when we come back, we'll be talking to our winners and grinners, and we'll hopefully crown a champion for Season 3 of 2019 here in the Output Racing League. Alrighty, guys, we're back. It's time for interviews, and we're kicking things off with the 4 of Jaron Sanchez, third place today, our pole sitter, and second in points overall, Jaron. So not a bad result for yourself at all.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm pretty stoked on that result. It's pretty good. I think I wasn't expecting to finish so well, and I just try to be consistent through these last 5 races, and it shows. So yeah, real stoked on that. Congrats to Thomas on the win in the championship, and 3 in a row, swept 2019, and of course, congratulations to Brian Chambliss for winning the race. He really dominated this race and put on a show for us.
Now let's talk about the opening lap there. You had a great run, starting from the pole. Thomas got you immediately with an over-under coming out of turn 2. Did you see your championship's hope starting to slip there when you seen that happen?
Oh yeah, well that's just Thomas doing Thomas things. You know, he's gonna be quick, and I kind of bobbled down at the bottom there in the center of 1 and 2, and had to let off the gas just a little bit because I thought I was gonna push up into Thomas, and that was just enough for him to swoop down underneath me and take me there on the first lap. I was hoping at least lead 1 lap, that first lap, so I can get that extra bonus point, but no go.
Now let's talk about the second restart. Not your finest hour, starting out of the outside, and it looked like you fell asleep on the start there. What happened?
Yeah, I was staying side by side with him, and it felt like I started to get in front of him a little bit, and I didn't want to have a dirty restart or anything, so I let off just a little bit so I could stay even. And right whenever I let off just a little bit, that's when he went, and I wasn't expecting it. Well, I knew he was going to go anytime there, but I was just trying to stay even with him, and I just happened to let off a tidbit right when he went. So yeah, it kind of sucked, but it's all right. I don't think I would have finished any better if I would have nailed that restart, to be honest.
It was quite the incredible fight back for you. After we had that second restart and we got that long green flag run, kind of dropped your way back through the field a bit, and I think I seen you at one point down in the 7th position. So fighting back up to 3rd, that wasn't a bad effort from you at all.
Oh yeah, I was terrible on long runs though. A lot of people made a lot of mistakes that allowed me to get up a little further, so that was nice. But yeah, no, I was lucky to finish 3rd, to be honest. Nailed our pit stops. I tried to short pit a little bit to get some kind of advantage on Matt, but he was just gone, and he was really the only one I was worried about. But and unfortunately, Chris had some internet problems, or his computer crashed like halfway through the race, so he didn't really get to compete for that second spot either, second and third spot. So that's unfortunate for him. But yeah, I was terrible on long runs. I was just barely hanging on.
Do you have anything you want to ask, Brandon?
Yeah, I was going to jump in here. Hey, Jared. So, in practice, it looked like you were relatively quick. Did the race kind of go different than what you expected? Did you try to conserve your tires a little earlier, or did you just kind of take whatever the car?
Yeah, I had to push it there a little early, trying to keep up with Thomas and Chris and them, and then I just burned them up, and I burned them up again when I was getting passed by a bunch of guys, just running non-ideal lines, and I didn't know what I was doing on the long runs. After 10 laps, I just said, see you later to the guys as they passed me.
Just give it hell, right? That's always my model. Give it hell. Well, I thought you ran a pretty good race here. It's pretty cool seeing you out there running. I put my money on you. I told Corey when I first came to the booth, I said Jaren's my sneaky favorite here. But good job. I think this is the best you finished in the season staying. So congrats on that, and thanks for everything you do.
Yeah, thank you. It feels good.
Now, before we let you go, what car are we running for next season?
It looks like we're running the A car, but probably running the A car. Kind of undecided, kind of decided, but looks like A car Cup season, and we'll see what happens. There's still a lot of undecided things, with the new tire model, and we got to do some testing. But at this point, it looks like we're switching over to the A car, run the NASCAR Cup Series schedule, and we're also going to have the NASCAR knockout rounds, which should be fun. So looking forward to it, but it's kind of a lot of stuff still in the works.
All right, awesome, man. Well, thank you very much for putting on the league. Thank you for putting me in position of broadcasting. Congratulations on 3 in the race and 2 in the season standings.
Thank you. You guys have a good night. Thank you.
All right, good job, Jaron.
Alrighty, so that was the 4 of Jaron Sanchez, league owner and operator, and 3rd place tonight. Coming up next, we got another guy who was in the battle for the championship and ended up coming up just short to Jaron, finishing in 3rd overall. We are, of course, talking to the 12 of Matt Burgess. Matt, congratulations on P2 in the race and P3 in the championship, man. It was a hard-fought fight for the entire season.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, it was, man, I was hoping to get Jaron there at the end, but he held on tough for his 3rd place. So congrats to him, the finishing 2nd, and congrats to Thomas for winning the championship by a narrow margin this time.
Yeah, well, one more round, and you and Jaron were definitely right in the box seat to try and take it away from him there.
Yeah, I took a look at the points, and Jaron actually matched Thomas point for point for the last 5 races. So those bonus points actually helped Thomas from those wins.
That is actually a pretty incredible stat. Let's go to your race, man. Bit of craziness in those first few laps for those quick early cautions, and a lot of pit strategy coming into play. How was the race for you, and how did it pan out to the way that you were planning it?
I was hoping Jaron would fall back. When Brian pit, I looked and I saw Jaron was right behind me on the track, and I'm like, man, if I pit, he gets a bonus point. So I stayed out. You know, I kind of gave up a chance at maybe challenging Brian, but I didn't want Jaron to get that extra point just in case he fell back, and then it cost me 2nd place in the points. I felt I was going to catch Thomas because he was still running fairly decent to finish high enough. But at that point, the pit strategy was just to make sure stayed ahead of Jaron and didn't have him getting more bonus points.
All right, man. Now let's talk about pit strategy. A lot of people pitted fairly early, but of course you were trying to cover off Jaron from trying to get the bonus points there. But apart from that, was your plan to try and run a little bit longer on your tires?
Yeah, when people started pitting early, they were breaking up because they still had 2 pit stops we had to do, and I was kind of playing maybe there's going to be a caution because it did get pretty loose there once you got later in the runs, coming off the corners. And we did have a few people go down through the grass, so that there was a chance that a yell, if a yell had come out, it would change everything. But at that point in the race, it was run it longer, hang on to it, and yeah, I checked the lap times, and me and Brian, when we were on about even tires, we were pretty close to the same time. So even if I was up there with him, I don't know if I could have passed him. It was it's give and take every lap. So congrats to him. But yeah, it's a caution. I think that would have been made it a lot more interesting, as far as the way my pit strategy was going.
You got any questions, Brandon?
Hey, Matt, what's up, man? Hey, good job finishing 2nd tonight and then 3rd overall in the standings. So at any point during the race, me and Corey found it kind of interesting. It looks like several guys were on several different pitch strategies. At any point, was it feasible for you to turn it into maybe a one stop there after half?
No, I still needed, when I pit that last time, I still needed, I think it was between 7 and 8 gallons. So to stretch it, it would have been really difficult, to save that much fuel. I don't think you could. So
Uh,
at that point, with the way the cautions and stuff were, there was no way to save it.
Okay, yeah. I mean, because it was getting really interesting there. Me and Corey going back and forth with potentially different strategies everybody was doing. So it kind of looked like everybody was doing their own thing. That's all I got for you, man. But good job. I believe that's the highest finishing points position, right? Since being in output. Congrats on that, and
Oh,
look forward to
you mean the season points?
yeah, season points.
I don't know. I think so. I don't know if I finished second or not. I've raced Thomas in other leagues, so
Oh,
but yeah, it might be matched the highest I've been in the points.
no, that's awesome. Well, congrats. I'll be there next year. So no, I'm just playing. Good job.
Well, I hope you're here next year to get all the races in and see you up there competing.
All
For
right.
sure.
All right. Well, thank you very much, Matt. Congratulations on P2, and congratulations on third in the standings.
All right, thank you.
Alrighty, guys. So that was the 12 of Matt Burgess, today's second place getter, third in the points, just falling 5 points shy of Jaron Sanchez there at the end of it all. So that's not very much at all. But coming up next, we're going to be talking to someone who should be very excited because not only is he the winner of the race, but he's also today's hard charger. We are talking to the 21 car of Brian Chambliss. Brian, what a race by you, man. You had the dominance out there of Christian Budd after Thomas made his unfortunate mistake there in turn 4.
Yeah, I mean, for what it's worth, I guess I was a little lucky there. I mean, we had a good start there. I didn't during practice. I didn't think I was gonna be all that good here. I mean, I'm normally good at Chicago, but looking at my times compared to everybody else, I was like, man, I'm gonna struggle today. But initial start there, and qual had a good qual run, started fifth, and a couple early cautions there, and all I did was just go forward. So I mean, good start to the race for me was able to get me to harm Thomas there, and then I mean I was able to reel him in and take the lead there, and he had his unfortunate mishap, but it's good to see him still pull out the championship. But other than that, it was more just kind of managing the guys behind me and their pit strategy, and just trying to make sure that I didn't stay out too long and get myself caught to where they were able to leapfrog me during a pit cycle, and hopefully a caution didn't come out. So that's pretty much what I was focusing on, and then just trying to be consistent and not make any mistakes.
Well, consistent and mistake free is definitely what we saw from up here in the booth. What was it like for you on especially those longer runs, seeing the mistake that Thomas had? Were you worried about maybe the car stepping loose on you as well?
Yeah, the car was, especially on the first run when I was running behind Thomas, it was super tight. I couldn't get the thing to rotate on exit. And then I got around Thomas and it was the complete opposite. Thing was rotating too much. And when Thomas had his mishap, I was actually pretty loose there on exit. And I thought he was going to get a good run. And when I looked up in the corner and seen him nosing on the wall, I was excited and thankful and disappointed at the same time because I mean, you know that Thomas is he's the guy to beat out here. He's a three-time champion in this league, and anytime you pass him straight up on the track, I mean, you're comparing yourself to him, and you know you're gauging yourself. But after that, it was pretty much only that way on the first run that it got loose and free air. After that, the two pits after that, I was still battling tight off. I mean, there was occasionally where if I under drove corner, it'd snap on me on exit, but for the most part, for me, it was pretty tight, pretty stable. I was just trying to make sure to keep it out of the wall. I knew I had a big lead, and just trying to stay focused on what I was doing then and managing it when people were pitting and trying not to stay out too long and get myself in trouble.
Well, that is indeed what we've seen there. Quite controlled race for you indeed, and I'm just having a look through the hard charger results here. So this is your second hard charger award for the season. Your first one being all the way back at the first round. So it's not bad for you to cap off the season and start the season with hard charger awards there.
Yeah, this season, compared to last season, I wanted to make sure I had better qualifying efforts because I noticed. I mean, it's good to get the hard charger on all, but I mean, I'm here to win and try to get some championships in here. So, I mean, to do that, you need to be running up front and kind of stay up there. So, I mean, to me, it's a good thing and a bad thing that I haven't got a whole lot of hard chargers because it means I've been qualifying well and finishing up front. But unfortunately, here in the playoffs, duty calls, and I had to be other places, so I wasn't able to compete in the playoffs the way that I wanted to. But I mean, I think tonight showed that I can be up there with Thomas and those guys, and maybe next year we'll work something out to where we can finish this thing off a lot stronger and maybe knock Thomas off the top there, break his streak of 3 going here. I guess it is 3 in a row for him.
Indeed, it is. He swept the year, which is incredible. I don't think we've had anyone be that dominant as far as championships go, but he's not going to have it all his own way next season, especially if Christian Bud's got anything to say about it.
Yeah, Christian's another one of those guys too. He's come in here. I'm not sure if he's been here other seasons, but at least from what I've seen this season, he's him and Thomas are the guys to beat. Of course, Gerald is quick too. I mean, he gets up there. Derek Myers as well. I mean, we got some guys they're really quick up here, and you're always measuring yourself against those guys. So I'm looking forward to next year, like I said, and hopefully I'll be able to make it here the whole season and compete all the way through.
You got anything you'd like to ask, Brandon?
Uh, yeah. Hey, Brian. Hey, good run there. That was awesome. Hey, thanks for your support for our law enforcement and stuff. That's pretty awesome. Great race there. Before Thomas hit that wall, if that wouldn't have happened, do you think you would have caught him? It seemed like you guys were pretty even there. And then when Thomas caught that wall and lost control there, you kind of just ran away with this bad boy.
Yeah, I kind of, to be honest, I thought he was. I mean, I stayed within a second of him on that first run, and then reeled him in there. So I think I probably had a little better long run car. So I mean, honestly, I think it would have come down to pit strategy. Who was able to make the better call on the pit road? Who was better on or off pit road? Because, like you said, we were. I feel like we're pretty close, and I think if it would have come down to a long run, I think I could have got him. But I mean, should, could have, would have, but it happened the way it did, and hey, I'll take it. A win's a win, no matter how you get them. They're hard to get. I mean, this is my first one here in this league, so I know how hard it is, and so I mean, I'm thankful for that. Sorry that that happened to Thomas. I mean, you always want to, like I said, compare yourself and race against some of the best guys in the league, and I mean, it just worked out for me tonight.
Yeah, man, you whooped them. You whooped the entire field. I mean, like I said, congrats on that run. Anytime you can get up there and run with Thomas, Derek, Gerald, any of those guys, I mean, you're one of the top guys in this league. So again, congrats. We look forward to next.
Yeah, thanks, Brandon. Thanks, Corey. I'll go ahead and give my shout outs here and the thanks to everybody. Thanks to Jaron putting this league on. This was a great. Congratulations again to Thomas for winning the championship. It's pretty impressive. All the other guys in here that come in here and support this league week in and week out and make this thing one of the best late night races I can think of. I mean, I don't really know too many of them that stick around, but definitely Jaron and the guys here's got something going on. Thank you guys up in the booth. Brandon stepping in and helping out with Corey there. Of course, Corey for doing this every week. It's great to go back and watch this. Appreciate the time you guys put into this as well. And then last but not least, I better thank my wife for letting me miss some dinners here to come out here and race with you guys. I know she gets upset with it right now, and she's kind of ignoring me, but also listening to me at the same time. But thank her for letting me do this.
It's
But,
okay. My
Is it-
wife does the same. Happy wife, happy life, right?
yeah, I got some making up to do, but either way, the win will work for me, and we'll help her out some way.
Well, at least you got a couple months here where we're going to be in break where you can make it up to her. But congratulations on the win, man. Very exciting race for you. And we look forward to seeing you up towards the pointy end of the field next year.
Yep, appreciate it, and we'll do our best and give them guys a run for their money here.
Alrighty, guys. So this was our winner today, Brian Chambliss in the 21 car. Absolutely amazing margin of victory as well. Definitely going to be one to watch next year. But now it's the guy that everyone wants to talk to. It wouldn't be proper if we didn't have a chat to him at least once, especially after what happened to him in the middle of the race there. But we're bringing up this season's champion, the 38 of Thomas Harmon. Thomas, congratulations.
Thank you, sir.
3 in a row. That is absolutely amazing. But did you panic a little bit there in the middle of that race, thinking that it was all going to slip away when you made that mistake coming off turn 4?
I knew I didn't panic too much. I worried a little bit that my car wouldn't last, but I knew with the earlier wrecks that had happened, it had eliminated enough cars, or at least damaged enough cars, that I should be able to maintain close enough to the front and still have an off race.
In the end, the margin was about 4 points, which is almost nothing in this league, especially if Jaron had managed to get himself some bonus points. So what happened when you were coming off turn 4 there? Did the car just snap on you, or did you maybe just turn it in a little bit too hard, getting tight behind Brian?
It started to get loose coming out of 4, and I started to correct it. It didn't want to straighten itself back up, and so I gave it a little jerk, and when I did that, it caught and just sent me straight into the wall.
Oh, that is unfortunate indeed. But let's not focus on that. It has been one hell of a season from you, man. You have been one of the more dominant forces here. And even with the introduction of Christian Budd into the league, you were still holding your own against him and finishing right up there towards the pointy end of the field.
Yeah, it was an all right season. Didn't have any of my good tracks in the playoffs there, so I kind of had to suffer through that. But it is what it is. I came out on top, and I don't know if I'll have anything for Christian next year. We'll have to find out.
But yeah, at the moment, man, 3 championships in a row. A feat that I don't think we've actually seen. I mean, last season you equaled Tommy Bordeaux with the 2 in a row, but 3 in a row, this puts you into some new territory.
It'll be nice. I hope to get that fourth one next year, but also really nice to sweep the 2019 season uh, series. I don't know what you want to call it, but a nice feeling. Add another one to the mantle and make it really pretty.
All right, man. Well, Brandon, anything that you want to ask Thomas while we got him up here?
Yeah, Thomas, I just kind of, I feel bad a little bit because when I jumped on with Corey, we started talking about you a little bit, and I said, I just don't think anybody has anything for Thomas. And then Brian passed you, and then you got into the wall there. So I want to apologize for the bad luck I passed on you, but it's nice to see that you're able to pull out the championship here with 3 wins, 13 top fives, and 15 top tens this season. Um, I mean, just go into a little bit when you hit that wall. I mean, I know you felt like you had it locked in, secured. I mean, at any moment did you think like, oh boy, this thing's going to go get away from me? And then with that said, we saw that you stayed out there a little bit longer. Then you ended up sliding into the pits. I mean, was this part of your strategy, just hoping for a caution to get that damage fixed?
Yeah, the staying out was hoping for a caution because it jacked up the steering pretty good. Not so much that my wheel was bent, but whenever it was in the corner, you could feel it wanting to push really hard on entry, and then when it would roll over, it'd be really loose on exit, even on fresh tires. But
Yeah, and we
let's see. But as far as the pit road goes, I was playing around with the brake bias in practice and set it at 55%, and forgot to move it back for the race. So I didn't plan for that, and it cost me 40 seconds plus whatever it took me to correct myself.
yeah we saw it. No, I'm just kidding. Um, yeah, well, congrats on that, man. You're starting to turn into the Jimmy Johnson of our league. Someone's going to take that horseshoe from.
Yeah, well, it'll probably be Christian.
All right, man. Well, congrats, and we'll see you next season.
I'll be here.
All right, Thomas. But before we let you go, anyone you'd like to give a quick shout out to?
Yeah, shout out to you, you and Brandon up in the booth for broadcasting tonight's race to everybody. All the fans for coming out and watching, all the competitors that show up each week, regardless of skill level. Jaron for putting on the league, all the admins and driver council for putting all the stuff together to make the league competitive and successful. And S2R for being a good team, and Avril for being on the hood.
All right, no worries, man. Thank you very much, and congratulations on taking out the season title and clean sweeping 2019.
Thanks, sir.
All right, guys. So that was a 38 of Thomas Harmon, this year's champion, and what a way he's done it too. Having an incident and falling right down to the back of the pack, and still managing to hold on to the points lead. Incredible. Brandon, any final thoughts from you before we wrap things up here?
No, man, what a phenomenal season. Again, thanks to you, Jaron, everyone that puts on this league. That was a hell of a season. Thomas didn't have his most dominating season there, but he was consistent. He did what he had to do at the end of the day to take home his third championship. So congrats to him, and I definitely look forward to next.
All right, well, thank you for coming up and joining me in the booth, man. It's been a fairly awesome race to call with you. Muchly appreciated. And thank you to Jaron for putting on the league, all the drivers for participating in the league. Without the drivers, then this is all for naught. And thank you to Jaron for putting me on as the broadcaster. On behalf of my co-host here, Brandon Bennett, I've been Corey Steinhauser. And this is the end of the season. We look forward to seeing you guys all joining us again next season for the Cup schedule, possibly in the Cup cars, not completely confirmed yet, but we'll wait and see. So until next time, stay safe out there, guys. Have a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. We look forward to seeing you in season 2020.